All right, looks like we are live, and we're gonna wait and let people join the live stream. But I want to tell you though, for everybody who's like just jumping in here, this is absolutely going to be a charity. We're gonna do a Somalian Daycare fundraising charity event live stream. So all donations will be given to an indescript Somalian daycare charity fund that is not been named. It has not been named yet. But if you'd like to support the Somalian daycare industry, as it were, um, please feel free to make that donation via live chat or super chat or whatever that is. I swear, all the money that you guys give to me, I will take and give to Somalian daycares. Um, maybe. There's no guarantees, okay? Be honest with you, it's probably just a scam for me to take money and give it to myself. But you will believe you're giving it to Somalian daycare, and that's what makes it kind of like you're in on it too, I guess. So super chats will go to me, but then I will consider giving it to Somalian daycare as a fundraiser. Um, Maybe I'll start my own Somalian daycare. What do you guys think of that? Right? Because if I start my own Somalian daycare, then I can just take all the money and keep it for myself. I don't actually have to have any Somalian children in my home. And then my life just becomes that much easier, right? Um, no, I'm kidding. Maybe, kind of. But this is basically just a test run for my live streaming. I'm going to start seeing how live streams go. You guys let me know, how's the audio on this? How's it sound like? Somebody just made a donation. Looks like we have some people in the chat already. They want to make a donation. Somebody said, here's a disingenuous faux donation of 5,000 times what they deserve plus shipping. Yeah, you're going to need to make that in the form of a real super chat if you want me to take it seriously. So just throwing that out there. Um, Man, nobody wants to donate to my Somalian charity fund. You see, the charity is that I keep it. That's the charity. And maybe I ship it back to my ancestors in England. I don't know. Where am I from? I don't even know. France? England? Germany? I got to do one of those 23andMe's, but they haven't got me to do that yet. So thankfully, I haven't gone there. But yeah, that story is crazy. And again, for everybody just joining, I'm kind of doing this live stream as a test just to see how everything works, if the audio's good, if the video's good. Um, and I don't know, I'm trying this whole live streaming thing. You know, people like the live stream, so I'm going to try to do it. And I thought I would just get started by going over the the Somalian daycare story because it's just absolutely insane. Um, I haven't figured out how to do video with this yet because this is a new setup I'm trying to see how the video and the audio is and how the live stream kind of works. But you guys can probably hear this. I mean, this guy came out and said this crazy stuff. So there was a Somalian daycare manager, right, in Minnesota, not Somalia. Who would have thought? And I guess what happened is that about a week after this story broke, that the whole thing's fraud, right? That they're basically just running these empty daycares so that they can take money from the the government and then just funnel it back to Somalia somehow. um, that this guy comes out and is like, well, let me just see. I'll play this clip and see if you can hear it. You guys let me know if you can hear this. I'm going to play it.
Unfortunately, we saw that there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone. There were also checkbooks that were ripped from our check papers that were ripped from our book. This is devastating news, and we don't know why this is targeting our Somali community, as one video made by a specific individual made this all happen.
So you got, I mean, I wish I could show you the video of this guy, but he's like, he's in there. He looks like a 12-year-old kid with a Yankees hat on, clearly Somalian, in case you're wondering, with big, thick glasses on. I think this is what, the PR people told them would be like the most sympathetic thing they could put in front of the camera to sort of sell this story. But what it looks like is that they paid somebody to go break in to their own actual daycare facility and steal all of the documents that would have been taken by perhaps the FBI or other federal agencies investigating the fraud and used as evidence against them in a case that would have been built based on the fraud that they were committing. But let's keep listening.
We've been receiving hateful messages through our voice notes threatening us for the past couple of days.
Yeah, one of the voices was, "I will come and steal all your documents." Or no, I'm trying to think. Would it be a redneck accent or a Somalian trying to do a redneck accent? Oh, you bastard bitches! I will take your documents and show them to the world. I can't do. Is that an Indian? Yeah, close enough. Yeah, let's continue.
Including one that happened yesterday morning when the break-in, after the break-in. This is frightening and exhausting because this is happening to us Somali communities as Somali Americans.
Yeah.
We are supposed to stand with each other and help each other through everything that's happening.
All right. So this guy with like maybe a fifth grade education at most is standing there and trying to do his best to walk through this whole thing about how they broke in and they stole. Let's see what they stole. They stole the checks, the employee documentation, the student enrollment documentation, and apparently nothing else. That's all they wanted. Exactly. All the things that the FBI would have taken when they presumably would have been raiding these daycares to convict them of fraud.
This is also sad that a video can cause all of this. I want to say that there are hundreds of daycares out there, Somali daycares that are out there, and we all help our children and everyone in our community. We have high quality daycares, and this is very sad news that one individual who made a false claim about fraud that is happening in the daycares engaged everyone else to come and do this to us.
Yeah. So it was all Nick Shirley. He was the one who broke the video. He had the whole story on it that came out and that went viral, which it wasn't even like a new news story, which is the funny part, because this was a story that had been around for quite some time. You can go all the way back to like 2018, I want to say, when they were members of the government, the state legislature in Minnesota, who were pointing out that this fraud was taking place. But Nick Shirley went there with a camera and made a report on it, and it went viral. And now everybody's saying, these Somalians, this Somalian daycare is definitely is in a different world. So that's interesting. I thought that was something that was worth talking about. What else? What else? What else? We have some other interesting and fun stories to discuss when you think about it. Apparently, Alex Jones has cracked the case in the Candace Owens Charlie Kirk investigation. He's, completely solved the case of who killed Charlie Kirk, but without actually answering that question and taking down the one person who seems to be looking into it. Although I don't trust Candace's motives as much as I want to. I want to trust that she's doing this for all the right reasons, but when I hear people getting accused of being like QAnon influencers, I automatically assume that there's some validity to what they're saying. Um, so that's an interesting story that we'll see how that goes. Mamdani, the communist, is taking care of New York City. I mean, destroying it, so that's fun. I gotta figure out how to do the live stream thing better. But again, remember, this is a test, and this is also a Somalian daycare fundraising charity live stream. So you can make out all of your donations via live chat to me, super chat to me, and I will take those and consider donating them to Somalian daycare workers, and probably not, but there'll be some heavy consideration in that regard. But yeah, so just to talk a little bit about what's going on with me, I'm working on new content, like I told you in that video I posted yesterday. It's going to be an interesting, transition, I think, from the kind of content I've been making to the kind of content I want to make. I read all your comments on that video that I posted yesterday, and I really appreciate it. It was really, I really felt a lot of positive feedback, a lot of people saying, hey, do what you want to do, make the content you want to make. And that's what I want to do at the end of the day. Some people said that I should start a new channel and do the content that I want to do on a new channel. But at the end of the day, this channel is a channel I spent years working on and building and creating and building up. And, I feel like it would be a shame if I were to take all the work that I put into this channel and then have to try to start over on another channel, which I've already had several other channels throughout the years. And one thing I realize is that it's very difficult to get a channel to where I was able to get this channel, A, and B, to take this channel and just let it be specifically for the one type of content that I was not allowed to do for the last 5 years seems to me to be a waste of a channel that I could do a lot of good with and that I could make a lot of great content with. So that's the reasoning behind it all on my end. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about it all, to be quite honest. Um, if you guys want to live chat and tell me what you think of it. But that's the plan. And I don't know exactly what the content's going to end up looking like here on the channel. I think it's going to be good. I have some, I think, good ideas for what I want to do and how it's going to come out and what it's going to look like, the final products. I've been sort of storyboarding, or whatever you want to call it, planning different videos that I have kind of thought up in my mind. Today is New Year, so happy New Year's Eve. For those of you going out tonight, don't celebrate too much. Enjoy that. Yeah, so I think some of the cool ideas I have so far involve some projects that I've been wanting to do, some things I've been wanting to, experiment with as far as video making and other things. So I'm kind of excited for that. I'm excited for the new year. I have some goals, personal goals that I want to, get to. I want to get in the gym. I want to get back in shape. You always start off, I had a really great start to 2025. I lost a lot of weight, made a lot of gains in the gym. And then as the year progressed and we got into fall and winter, of course, as always happens almost every year, you start to kind of fall off the wagon, as they say, and you start eating a little more snacks and junk food and holiday meals and all that crap. And so I'd like to get back in the gym. I'd like to kind of document that journey a little bit. um, I would like to engage you guys as viewers in the channel, as to get your opinion on what you think of each video. You tell me if it's good or not, or if it's worthwhile or not. And I know it's going to be kind of all over the place at first, so bear with me on that. But the channel has to become something that I enjoy doing again. It's just, otherwise I won't keep doing it, if that makes sense. If you guys don't know, I made this mention in a video earlier, but when I'm not doing videos and content, I'm a full-time real estate agent here in northern Colorado. So, anywhere from Denver to Cheyenne, or basically to the Wyoming border, the I-25 corridor, that is, you could reach out to me if you need any help with real estate. That's what I do primarily, and this has always been a hobby, and even more so before this channel got reinstated in November. It was sort of like I never thought I'd get this channel back, to be quite honest with you. I thought YouTube would lock me in the digital gulag, throw away the key, and never let me out. But turns out my offense of reporting on news that they don't like carried with it a 5-year term, and I've been released. So now that I'm released, I'm back on the channel. But it's weird because, I understand that the audience has changed. I understand a lot of the people that have been subscribed to this channel have changed their opinions over the last 5 years. So they are either kind of phasing out of sync with me and my content and or my thoughts and opinions. We haven't been, linked up at all. And that makes it difficult for them to connect back with me. A lot of people, I would say probably the majority of the people who subscribe to this channel, are not getting notifications probably that I'm back, or haven't seen these videos posting or popping up in their feeds or whatever it may be. And maybe that's the reason. Maybe some of the people have changed over the last 5 years. They don't agree with me anymore, and they don't agree with any of the stuff that I believed in. But I mean, what did I believe in? Just to let you know, Christian, conservative, patriotic, God-fearing American who wanted to share the gospel of Jesus Christ and talk about the world that we live in. So that's always been my thing. But yeah, I mean, 5 years. You imagine, you take somebody out of their, element, out of their workflow process for 5 years, and then give it back to them after 5 years. It's going to be a different product. It's going to be a different endeavor. It's going to be a different, it's going to be just different. And that's where I'm at, where I've spent 5 years doing other things. I had a successful radio show for 2.5 years here in the Front Range of Colorado. I've been practicing real estate for quite some time here. Those are the primary two things, but I've also been doing a lot of other things than sitting around and focusing on politics. And I know that's probably not surprising. I wouldn't imagine it should be very surprising. I'm sure, just like all of you, the last 5 years have been crazy. And I'm here, though, to say that I want to try different stuff. So maybe stream a little, maybe post some interesting content, take you guys along for the ride and see what happens. If you guys like it, you like it. If not, I have plenty of things to fill my time that don't involve making content and posting it on YouTube. And that's definitely not me saying that you guys who watch and support aren't important. It's just life is such, we have to figure it out. So that's where it's all at. That's the whole live stream. I wanted to experiment with some stuff, but I'm gonna have to get some more equipment and set things a little different as far as the content goes. Somebody asked, I'm gonna read some of these posts. Somebody asked, "Where's Nick?" So Nick No and I have been doing a podcast. We did the radio show for a while. We were doing a podcast here, and Nick's got some things he's going through. I'm not going to say anything else other than that. I'm just going to say that he's working on other things right now. And once maybe those things get worked out, we'll be able to have him back on and get him back in the show. Um, so I'm hoping that that's sooner than later that we can get him back. And yeah, but what else? What else? What else? I need to start streaming with, do like the live stream where I have like people come in and guests and do things. That might be good. That might be good. And I'm not even trying to say that the old stuff's not going to be there. I'm actually thinking about making a sort of a deep dive video into the Anthony Weiner stuff because that's become back in the news a little bit. So kind of like a refresher on what the whole Anthony Weiner laptop situation was. That was a video that I had in mind as far as politics go. But I gotta find it. I gotta find the thing that gets me going again, I guess. For those of you who don't, know what that's like, it's tough. So, and I also think this, to be honest, I'm pretty sure that even though YouTube's let me back on, there is something restricting my content, because you got to remember, before I left, they were suppressing my content. And they were suppressing my channel growth. They were suppressing my reach. They were suppressing my content. I'm not to sound paranoid, but I'm almost 1,000% positive that a channel of this size with this many subscribers shouldn't be getting the view numbers I'm getting. It should be much higher. And I know that because historically I've seen the numbers. I've seen what they do when it's unmitigated, when it's uh, ungoverned, if you will. And so I know they're doing stuff behind the scenes with the AI and the algorithms that's suppressing this content. And so that's another thing that's like, I don't care necessarily, but it does make it more difficult to continue to create content and to do this as a living because, a lot of, if you're going to do this, I mean, like they haven't remonetized my channel yet, which sucks because channel monetization is like how you earn a living on YouTube if you're going to do it full time. It's how I earned a living before. And I was looking at, how they're doing it. And I mean, it's obvious. It's so obvious. And they don't have to do much either. I mean, all they have to do is not put it into people's suggested video queue. If you just don't suggest this video to enough people, particularly people who are already subscribed to this channel, the 267,000 people that have subscribed to this channel, if you only suggest this content in the, top carousel of suggested videos, you can basically make it so the content doesn't go anywhere and nobody sees it. And this is what they talked about. This is what like Elon Musk has talked about extensively, like freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, is what Elon Musk said. If you're anti-Semitic, right? If you say bad things about Israel, don't worry, because your channel won't get far on, because we don't have to give you freedom of reach You can have your freedom of speech. Of course, you can have your channel. Of course, you can say what you want. Nobody will listen because nobody will see you because nobody will get notifications that you're there. And the only way you will get, noticed is if you manage to somehow go viral, which is also controlled by the algorithms. And then in and of itself, that becomes a, sort of negative spiral that is impossible to, it's like being sucked down into a whirlpool. It's like you can't, the more you fight back, the harder it is, right? As far as not getting views. And, people can say what they want. You could say the content sucks, fine. It's not what it used to be. It's the same as it was. It hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is I was locked up for 5 years, and now they have stronger algorithms that suppress content that they don't want you to hear even more because they promote authoritative sources, right? The AI has figured out how to make sure that, it was funny because back when I was getting, I don't know, like, let's say 50,000 views per video up to I got one video with 1 million and then everything from there down. I was beating single-handedly, my channel, my show was beating CNN, like by a lot, by so much that it was noticeable. Now back then, we're talking 2017, 18. I mean, YouTube wasn't like as ubiquitous as it is now. YouTube wasn't really trying to become like a TV provider like they are now. Like, YouTube TV is all the news channels, and Fox and CNN and MSNBC are all there. So it was just kind of like they had a digital presence, but they were focused on cable. Cable was where it was at. And then over that, 2-3 year period, it changed. Like they started focusing on YouTube. They started focusing on the internet. They realized that, they were losing out on a huge audience and that audience was growing and that their cable audience was shrinking. So that's when the censorship started. That's when they took my channel down. That's when they took everyone else's, content down. And then they locked us up for 5 years. And then the only people that were allowed to have channels were ridiculously crazy people who were, clearly mentally unwell, who were able to build huge followings because there was no competition. And then, who else was able to build up their following was CNN and MSNBC and all the juggernauts that, bought and owned and controlled cable news. They all of a sudden had huge, they exponentially grew their presence on YouTube and exponentially grew their presence elsewhere, right? And it was like, okay, so we know the fix is in. So now I know, and I've had 5 years to think about this. So these are my real thoughts on it. And I think that, the fix is in for me. Do I think they're going to remonetize my channel? Probably not. Do I think they're going to, make it so that I can really earn a living on YouTube? Probably not. Am I going to try to do this anyway because I actually enjoy doing it? Yeah. But at the same time, my focus is obviously got to be on providing for my family, maintaining my career, the things that I've had to focus on for the last 5 years. When I didn't have this channel, I still have to focus on those things. So the content on this channel, like I said, it's going to become more like the content I want to make, the content that I'm excited to make, that I don't care if one person's watching or 1 million people are watching. Like I would like to be proud of the content that I'm making and that I enjoy the content I'm making at the end of the day. Because I loved YouTube. The reason I started a YouTube channel back in 2015, over 10 years ago now, which is crazy to think about, is because I loved watching YouTube and I loved watching, content creators make content. And I thought, you know what, I really enjoy watching it. I think I could do it. That'd be fun. And it was fun. It was one of the most fun things I've ever done. And I was successful, thanks be to God, not by me, but by God. By God's grace, I was able to become very successful. When I was, though, it all got taken away overnight. And, it was a blessing in disguise. I don't regret any of it. Um, Obviously, YouTube, they, we were in a lawsuit with YouTube. We sued them. We sued them to get the channel reinstated. Me and about 19 other content creators got together and we pooled our money and we got a really fancy lawyer and we went to the California court where you have to go to sue YouTube, and we went all the way up to the Ninth Circuit's Court of Appeals, and got shot down basically, and didn't really have enough money or I would say like support at that time to go to the Supreme Court, although we were wanting to go to the Supreme Court to get our YouTube channels back in a timely manner, mind you, not just like get them back eventually, but get them back in 2020 or 2021 when they were taken away. Well, that didn't work. The election was stolen. We got screwed. YouTube said, screw you. Our whole case was built on the idea that YouTube had basically taken our channels away at the behest of the government's pressure, Nancy Pelosi and others pressuring YouTube saying, you need to do this. And that was to help, affect the outcome in the 2020 election, right? While suppressing the dissident voices that were politically aligned against their political, agenda. So that was what our whole case was built on. And then we basically got shot down. And then, crazy enough, about 3 or 4 months ago, YouTube's lawyers come out and say, oh, yeah, basically everything we accused them of in that lawsuit, they confirmed via their own lawyers who put out, they hired some fancy law firm and they put out a statement saying, YouTube's not going to be viewpoint discrimination anymore, and we're going to reinstate all these channels that were banned for politics, all because they saw the tide turning because Trump won. And then they tell us, oh yeah, you can have your channel back. Oh yeah, yeah, you're good. And then when we say, hey, if you're admitting that what you did was wrong, why aren't we being compensated for that? Why aren't we being paid damages, right? For losing our channel. I mean, I lost my entire income overnight and had to spend, 2 years trying to get back to a percentage of that as far as, and then, provide for my family and do all these other things. I was damaged severely financially when YouTube took away my channel and banned me. And when all the other platforms banned me too, I got like universally banned. It was Twitter, who still hasn't reinstated my original Twitter account. I couldn't answer that if you gave me $1 million. Facebook banned me. GoFundMe banned me. Patreon banned me. YouTube banned me. I mean, I got like wiped off the face of the planet instantaneously on October, from October to like January of 2020 and 21. Like I got completely wiped out. And I mean, it just baffles me that now we're back on this platform and they're like, oh, here, you can have your channel back. And I'm like, well, thanks, but giving me my channel back does nothing to make up for what you did. And that's A. And B, you're clearly suppressing this channel now using the algorithm that you were doing before. Because remember, it started before I got banned on YouTube. I saw the numbers go from, you can see on a graph where you're growing and growing and growing, and then all of a sudden every content creator, when they change the algorithm, starts going the other way. So the algorithm stopped promoting things. It started shadow banning. It started suppressing videos. It started, not recommending you and not recommending you to people who subscribe to you and all that stuff. So it became like abundantly clear that they had made this sort of move to start censoring us and start suppressing us. Then they just got rid of us. Then 5 years later, Trump wins and they bring us all back for some reason, which I still don't understand, other than I think that in the world of competitive markets for AI, large language learning, um, machine learning, they need more people to populate the data banks to get the content. And I had this long discussion. If you guys want to watch a video I did not too long ago with Zach Voorhees, the guy who went to Project Veritas, who was working at YouTube, who blew the whistle on the censorship and how they changed the algorithm and did it all, who's a friend of mine who I've known for many years, who actually helped me and many others in our lawsuit against YouTube. We talk about that at length in that video, in that interview. But basically, I think the only reason they brought us back is they understand that like they're losing in the data acquisition battle, or they want total spectrum or full spectrum dominance in the data acquisition battle. And if Elon Musk and his platform X hosts all these accounts that draw huge amounts of people, that they want those people that are there to come back to Google to feed their AI, because their AI is what's the future. So keep that in mind too. AI is the future. I mean, because it won't be long before what you're seeing here, you won't be able to distinguish what I'm doing right now live from some AI artifact that is entirely composed on a guy's computer in his basement and is not real. I mean, we're already kind of seeing that, right? But you're not going to be able to tell. Like they'll be able to mimic me perfectly and you, to the point where it'll make it look like I said things I haven't said. This is leading us all, of course, to the digital ID, which is coming, by the way, in case you didn't know. And this is all leading to sort of the dystopic Orwellian future that people have been predicting, where you're going to have a digital ID because the AI is going to be so good at faking people and their voice pattern and their facial recognition and everything, and the video will be so real, it'll look like this. It'll look exactly like this. From the mannerisms to the intonations and inflections in your voice, to your cadence and speech, to the movement of your eyebrows and your cheekbones and your nose and your, the wrinkles in your face, it will be absolutely indistinguishable. And they'll be able to do it all from anywhere in the world at any time, with anything. So you're going to have a digital ID to log into the internet, because that's the only way that you'll be able to verify that and even then they will still be able to, do those things, especially when it comes to framing people for crimes they never committed, blackmailing people with evidence of crimes, or doing other things, tricking people, scamming people, you name it. So that's the future. Sorry, I don't know how I got off on a tangent with that, but I mean that's literally the future we're heading, into. We're basically rolling into head first. So that's why I want to make other content that I enjoy, because what they have is they have this thing called evergreen content on YouTube, and there are algorithms and it's not about the algorithms. Again, it's about making content I enjoy at the end of the day. But I want to make evergreen content, which is like content that is not dependent on a news cycle and all that stuff, because that's where I'm just a little burnout, to be honest. It's been a decade of doing this pretty much nonstop. And yeah, so anyway, Let's see if anybody texted or chatted anything interesting. Oh, everybody says the audio is good, video is good. Somebody said, did something happen to the daycare? I thought I saw something in the news about it. Yeah, they definitely did something with some daycare. Somebody said, am I seeing things? Your subscribers are more than 250,000? I know. It's crazy, right? It's wild. But yeah, so at the end of the day, that's the whole reasoning behind what I'm wanting to do. It's more of a, I'd like to make content I'm passionate about, but I also like to do the live streaming thing. I find this to be fun, believe it or not. I've always enjoyed live streaming. I've always enjoyed live as opposed to, you know, pre-recorded because no, I mean, just realistically speaking, pre-recorded takes a lot more effort, a lot more thought, planning, and everything else. And I'm not saying I don't want to plan content for this, but I think this will be better content too. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And I'll let you know. I'll let you know, right? But if you guys don't have anything else in the chat, I'm going to leave it there because I'm honestly just doing this as a test and to see. I want to see what kind of donations I can get for this fundraising charity live stream I'm doing. Because we have to save Somalian daycares. So think about that. I'll wait. I'll wait for you guys to send the super chats. Okay, doesn't look like they're coming. Somebody said, Vintage Grape said, appreciate your battle to keep with, but not spinned by waves of emotional distress responses. Thank you. Yeah, I've done my best to kind of weather this storm as evenly as I can. Never looked at it as a punishment. I always looked at it as an opportunity or a blessing from the Lord that He was opening a new door and showing me a new path. And that's how I've had my faith this entire time. I've given all of it to, to Jesus. I literally go to Him every day in prayer. I ask Him to give me guidance and to give me clarity of mind and to give me just an ability to weather this storm. I mean, that's what it has always come down to. And I'm thankful for that. I really am. All right. Well, that's it. I'm testing this. This is a test of the broadcast system that I'm on. So we'll see if it's good or not, and I'll try to figure out a way. I'd like to do some screen sharing in this, and do some other things and make it kind of a little bit better. But I mean, is this what live streamers do? I haven't spent a whole lot of time watching live streamers. I got to be honest. It doesn't necessarily interest me as much. But I mean, did they just sit here all day? I mean, like, is that what the algorithm wants me to do? Is to sit here engaged on a computer with all of you for hours at a time? Because I'll do it. Just to experiment, to see if I enjoy it or not. I kind of like this dynamic of the live chat, though, with you guys chatting and me kind of here. But that's my question. Is this actually what people want to see? I mean, what do live streamers do? Because I see the clips online. And yes, somebody asked, are you fundraising for the thieves and thieving Somalians? And the answer is yes. So I'll explain. So what happens is if you want to give me a super chat, I will consider making a donation to a Somalian daycare center. But I will probably keep the money and not give it to a Somalian daycare center. So, in totality, um, I would like to raise money to support my interest in possibly supporting and creating maybe a Somalian daycare of my own from which I can charge the federal government a exorbitant amount of money to do nothing and but not commit fraud actually. um, no fraud, to do it legally and lawfully. And well, they just said F that. Well, come wait, you haven't heard about my full plan yet. So you make a super chat and send me money. That's step one. Once that happens, I think about Somalian daycare. And I think that that technically would classify it as fundraising for Somalian daycare because I'm thinking about it when you're giving me money. And then I keep it. I, that seems like, well, actually, that is the whole plan. So, yeah, you can give me money and I'll keep it. And then, yeah. Somebody said, see Valhalla. Is Valhalla the thing where they said it's like a witness protection program and that's where they think Charlie Kirk is? When Cash Pill's like, see you in Valhalla, brother. Anyway, let's see. Somebody said, Kay Willard said, no, you can say whatever and we talk amongst ourselves and you chime in from time to time. Okay. So so here's the thing I have. Here's my question. Do I actually have to do anything? Like, or do I just sit here and leave the camera on and just talk? What do, like, I've never actually watched a live stream, so I don't know what they're even doing. I mean, I've seen the clips online where like, yo, chat, what do you got for me? Chat, why are you saying all that? Chat, come on, chat. And that's about it. But as far as the live stream goes, yeah. All right, what else is going on? I mean, you have Trump. I guess I could talk about Trump since we're going to be here for a minute. Well, I'll talk about Trump in a second, but somebody texted and said, you would get more money if you were to say you were raising funds to prosecute the Somalis. How about this? I have a compromise. If you give me a super chat right now, multiple super chats, just send me money. I will think about prosecuting Somalian daycares. Yeah, I'll keep that money because that seems more easy than actually doing it. You gotta look out for number one in this world, as they say. Um, but yeah, somebody said they can't. They spent too much on Christmas. Yeah, join the club. Join the club. That's why I'm here raising money for Somalian daycare because I spent so much money on Christmas. Please, I'm begging you. This is like e-begging, right? Electronic begging is what they call it. No, I don't really care. But Trump. Let's talk about Trump for a second. What do I think of Trump? Nobody asked, but I'll give you my opinion on it. I like Trump. I do. My problem with Trump really lies mostly in his, you know, failure to deliver on promises. But I'm actually thinking that, he's got 3 more years. So there's that. Um, and I'm like sort of agnostic on the whole Israel thing. I know people hate that because you have to be one side or the other on it. You got to either like hate Israel or love Israel. But I just don't. I mean, I see the influence that people point out as being bad, and I agree. And especially some of those people happen to be, pro-Israel or Israeli or, pro-Zionist and all that stuff. And I agree. We shouldn't let our country, the interests of our nation be dictated by another nation, and especially the interests of another nation that is not our country. That seems antithetical to what the MAGA thing is all about, right? Simultaneously, um, Israel is not the worst place in the world, if that makes sense. There are plenty of places that are far worse than Israel, and I know that really shatters a lot of people's worldviews, and this is like probably the most controversial thing I could talk about right now. So I'm glad. I hope people really get pissed off. I'm joking. I don't want that. But yeah, I mean it's just yeah. Somebody said Ben Shapiro's a weasel. Yeah, Ben Shapiro is a complete douchebag, if I may say so. I don't like him. If you like him, I don't care. People like things I don't like, and it doesn't bother me. This is where I think it gets crazy when I see all these people online going absolutely losing their ever living mind over like, uh, you know, oh, well, you don't agree with Nick Fuentes. You're basically a Zionist, shill trying to destroy America. I'm like, I can agree with Nick on some things and I can disagree with him on others. I don't like a lot of the stuff he says, to be honest. But I also don't think a lot of the stuff he says is wrong, necessarily. Same with Candace Owens. Same with even that little weasel Ben Shapiro. He probably says things I agree with all the time. People are so like sensitive. I think and I think here's the biggest thing that I've realized. That here's the thing. And Alex Jones. Somebody said Alex Jones. I agree. Like I don't. People are so sensitive, but here's the problem. Everybody's been convinced by the internet that their opinion is so much more valuable and important than it really is. I think that's one of the biggest things I've taken away from watching this stuff happen on the internet. People have an overinflated level or idea of self-importance. It's like not really nobody really cares what you think, you know? And I don't even mean like you guys out there. I'm talking about like the Ben Shapiros of the world, right? It just baffles me. Somebody said that they can't see how to super chat. You might not be able to super chat. I'm being quite honest with you. You might not. I mean, because they don't. They did demonetize my channel, so there's a high probability that you can't super chat. So, oh no, I guess we won't be able to fund the Somalian daycare fundraising live stream. Dang it. So close. I thought we could really revive that booming industry or save it or whatever they say. Somebody said, what do you identify as, a man or a Democrat? It's a good question, Davy boy. And I'd have to say, if I was going to identify as anything, I identify, and I know this is going to sound bad, or sound, corny or whatever, but I identify as a child of God, a follower of Christ. And but it is a funny man or a Democrat. I don't know. I don't identify as gay or lame. So I guess that would be a man, conservative man. So there's that. The Somali bobsledding Olympic team. Now, first of all, I'm a huge fan of Cool Runnings. So Jamaican bobsledding, I'm all for supporting, but not sure I'm 100% involved with the Somalian bobsledding team. Although it's a good idea. Um, but there are ridiculous Olympic teams, right? For all kinds of sports that don't make sense. The funniest one was absolutely the the break dancing, or what was that called? I think it was break dancing was like a thing, and then the Australian lady that was like went viral. I don't know, a couple of years ago. She did like the kangaroo pose. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought she was bold and beautiful and one of the most amazing stars in breakdancing history. She's set the world on fire. Stunning, brave, and beautiful. Um, but yeah, back to the Trump thing. I don't know. I could get really controversial, and I'm not fence sitting on this by any means, but I am saying that I just don't care. How's that? Right? Like, I don't care enough to get myself to an emotional state where I am like vitriolically screaming at my computer and typing in all capital letters about how much I hate, this or that. Because there are things that affect me directly that I know I can control, and there are things that affect me directly that I know I can't control. And it's not to say that I accept those things and just, give up and, roll over and say, oh, well, woe is me. But you have to pragmatically live within reality at some point, you know, we all do. So that's the way I kind of look at it without getting too wrapped up in any of it. I don't know what live streaming is or how it works, but I think I've done a good job of it today. Um, I think I'm gonna get better at it probably if I do it some more. So we'll see. We'll see how this video does. We'll see what the algorithm lets it do, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So I've been on here for an hour. I think that's about enough. I mean, how long is a live stream supposed to be anyway, right? 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. I know I can't do this probably for more than another hour or so. I got things I have to take care of. Plus, it's New Year's Eve, so I got to get ready for that. Going to have a huge party. So, we're going to have massive events and parties and people and champagne and just all kinds of things you can imagine. Is it true though? Is it so? I know it's true, but I don't. Is it true right now that there are parts of the world that have already had thanks or had New Year's, like they're already in 2026? It's got to be, right? Or is it that they're behind? Is it 2026 somewhere in the world? Is it Australia? I'm actually curious. So they're checking. See, I actually like this. So this is kind of cool. I'm seeing now that if you have some cool people in the chat, they will answer your questions. So I don't even have to think. Somebody said Dubai and Australia. So is it already 2026 in Dubai? Is that true? Do I need to fact check that? Oh, well, you guys will fact check it. Because if that's the case, then I'm already behind. I need to get ready for this party, man. I'm gonna party like it's 1999. And guess what? I'm old enough to have been partying on 1999 when it turned 2000, believe it or not. I know this face looks like the face of a young child, but I in fact was partying like it was 1999 in 1999. Millennium Party. I was there. It was wild, off the hook. I have pictures. I could probably show you, but I'd have to go find them. I have like a little tuxedo on. Pretty cool. I looked pretty sharp. Just saying. Somebody said they're going to church for the watch. That's fun. Y2K. I remember Y2K. So the thing about Y2K is that somebody said Australia and Dubai, it's already 2026. Thank you. Appreciate that. Y2K was crazy. I was a little young, but I wasn't too young actually. I mean, I want to say I was like 13. Man, I'm old. I'm not that old. Am I? I don't know, 13, 30, 25. Yeah, I was probably in my younger teens. And everyone was freaking out. I wasn't freaking out, but I was aware of it. And I just remember that, you know, it was hard to imagine how it would all work, but everybody kept saying that the computers were going to not be able to tell what day it was, and that that's what was going to cause the end of the world. And I kind of thought, man, if that's all it takes to end the world, we're screwed. I mean, I distinctly remember having that thought as a child. I very much remember that. I remember sitting there thinking, man, if that's all it takes, man, we're on a downward trajectory from here. But somebody said, I was going to the Let Us Worship Sean Fucht thing tonight, but it's going to be 38 degrees, and this is South Florida. Okay, so if you're in South Florida, I know what 38 degrees in South Florida is. It is apocalyptic. It is the end of the world. I grew up in South Florida, so I know full and well what that's like. Now I live in northern Colorado, basically close to the border of Wyoming, so I have a different opinion on what apocalyptic cold is now. I actually tend to think that something in the negative 20 to 30 range is my threshold for cold. But when I was living in Florida, I remember distinctly that if it got below 40 degrees, it was basically a statewide emergency, not just because all the citrus would die, which we all know about that if you live in Florida, but more overly because the people just lost their mind. Everybody, wrapped up like they're Eskimos. And, I would say 38 degrees with 100% humidity is a little colder than 38 degrees with like 20% humidity. So there is that, but the humidity doesn't make up for that much of a difference. Speaking of weather, I got some news to report to you from here in Colorado. We're having unseasonably warm winter. We've had one snowstorm, and it was back in October. The entire month, the highs there's been like 2 days where the highs are below 40. And most of the days here, and this is northern Colorado, mind you, we're like close to Wyoming. The highs are like in the 50s. Today, I think the high is 60 degrees. The high is 60 degrees. And it's been in the 50s and 60s here and nice for the last 2 months. And there's nothing on the radar as far as weather is concerned. Let me just look at the forecast here real quick. I want to look at this. So right now, today's high is 60, tomorrow's 56, then 59, 59, 64, 58. This is like late fall or like early fall temperatures that we're experiencing. Late spring, early fall temperatures. And we're like coming into, it is colder in Florida right now than it is in Colorado. It's 60 degrees right now. It's 60 degrees and sunny. It's been that way every single day. There is not, we haven't had one snowstorm. We had one snowstorm, one. Usually by now we have at least 4 or 5 big ones, and the daily average temperature is like 30 degrees. We're like 30 degrees above that every day. It's wild. I've never seen anything like it. So I thought that was interesting. I think it's interesting. It's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. I don't get up every day. I mean, but there I am. I have a little bit of that Florida boy in me still, Florida man, as they say. And whenever I see snow or cold or get up and it's cold, I enjoy it. I still do. I think it's great. I know people hate snow. I still love snow. If it snows, I get really excited and happy. Um, but it is wild. Like to get up every day and it's like still like perfect golfing weather here. The ground's not really that frozen. Usually it's frozen rock solid by now. The grass is not entirely brown yet. There's still some green on the ground. I saw, it's funny. I saw people were saying that this is like predicted to be bad. I've seen some cryptic posts. I made a cryptic post as a joke. Ha ha ha. Oh, you'll see what's happening. But I've seen some posts that the weather's supposed to get worse in late fall, or no, excuse me, late winter, early spring, which we're pretty much rapidly approaching late winter, if not. I mean, we've already had the winter solstice. We're past that. Um, and the weather's been absolutely crazy. But I've heard that we're supposed to get crazy snow and cold, or maybe not cold, but great, like lots of precipitation coming up here soon. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist or a weatherman. Are those the same thing? All these questions and more you can find out if you just look it up yourself. Is this the calm before the storm? I don't know. Am I a follower of the Q? I mean, following, I don't follow anything besides Jesus Christ. So that question is kind of like, eh. But yeah, I mean, I followed Q forever. I thought it was, I followed as in I watched what it was doing and reported on it. And I happen to know some of the people that were closely involved with it, let's just say. So I would say that here's the thing about Q that I really hate. People, and I mean it sincerely. All the people that say Q is BS. What was Q? Okay, what was Q? Some people say it's Operation Trust. But think about this. Q said that people needed to be arrested, as I recall. Never said that they were going to arrest the people. Q said, these are the things we should be paying attention to. Q never said that they were the ones investigating it. Q said the military was in control. The military still is in control, in case you hadn't noticed. And I say all of that to say this. And Q said, trust Ray. I know. At the time, what was our other option? Not trust Ray? So the thing is, I've come to understand Q in this way. For better or worse, it was a way to get people to wake up. It was a way to disseminate information and circumvent the fake news media. It spurred an entire community. Now, I think that there were competing factions behind the scenes that were, let's say, driving the Q operation at different points. I think that the Q operation was meant to get people to pay attention to certain things that they weren't otherwise going to pay attention to. But I mean, this is one of those things that until the files on it are declassified, we'll never know. We won't. And even then, how can you trust declassified files? They can all be tainted and altered and switched, and whoever's in control is going to rewrite the history the way they want it to be told anyway. You know, it to me, it's like, just take it for what it was, right? Take it for what it was, and just move on, right? Because the more people obsess on it, the more people try to figure that out, I think the more they're going to miss the forest for the trees, like the things that are happening now. I mean, people have been arrested, people have been exposed, people have been, you know, completely exposed, nakedly exposed. I mean, Hollywood, for crying out loud, Hollywood's been entirely exposed. The agenda has been laid bare. People see it plain and clear. Now you can say that that's, you know, some kind of, let me just, you can say that that's whatever you want to say it was, but I've known a lot of people who are involved in psychological operations, right? And Q clearly was a psychological operation. Now, what kind of operation is where it becomes tricky? And that's where you have to really have a discerning, you know, palate, as they say, as far as what you, because nobody forced you to believe Q. Nobody forced you to follow Q. You chose, if you did, to follow Q of your own volition. That means that it was up to you on how to take all that information and process it. And as far as people making money off Q, somebody said, so accept that a bunch of people made money on lies. First of all, do people make money on lies every day? Not saying right or wrong, good or bad, but do people make money on lies every day? The answer is yes. Similarly, do people have to make money to provide for them and their family? Yes. Do people always find the most honest way to make money? No. Does that make any of it right or wrong? That's up for you to decide. You can believe that it was wrong for people to make money, but a lot of those people, and I don't know who you're referring to, the people who made money, I'd like to know specifically who you're referring to, but many of the people who made money on things that Q was doing were people who were working and putting in a hefty amount of work. I mean, so do they get, should they be paid on it? I don't know. I don't know. I was one of those people, but I thought the work I was paid for was honest reporting. I wasn't being controlled. And that's why I got banned, by the way. Hint, hint. The people who didn't get banned probably are the ones who were doing the bidding of others. Let's just put it that way. Because the people who did get banned, I knew a lot of them, they weren't on anyone's payroll. Okay? Just saying. So take that and do with it what you will. But I would say, remember that, you know, when it comes to the whole Q thing, I mean, look at where we're at now. There was no way that this was going to be clean, easy, and just, you know, simple. It was always going to be dirty. It was always going to be messy. It was always going to be moves and counter moves. It was always going to be, you know, one side does one thing, the other side does another thing. And there's a battle that is the eternal battle of good versus evil. That is not just, you know, compressed into our lifetime. It is the aggregate timeline of history itself that is a never-ending and ongoing battle between good and evil. Even though we know Christ won that battle at Calvary, the sacrifice on the cross defeated, you know, the dark one. But beyond that, our fate as humans who are fatally flawed in that we are human is that we will have this never-ending struggle between good and evil, right? So in that regard, you can shift it all onto whoever you want. You can say it's Q, you can say it's Trump, you can say it's Biden, you can say it's the spaghetti monster. Doesn't matter. It's the same stuff every day. We're going to be dealing with the same stuff. Um, Somebody said the QTuber channels, and are you suggesting that bank robbery is okay because it's hard work? I mean, I'm a stonemason, never lied for $1. So you're insinuating that I suggested something I didn't. Um, if I make an honest day's work off somebody else's lie that I don't necessarily know is a lie or not, am I complicit in the lie that they told? Right? That's the question. And how do you know it's a lie? Who and what is the arbiter of truth? Truth itself. What is true? Unfortunately, although we know there's objective truth, clearly, there is also a relativity to truth that is and always will be in the eye of the beholder. And these are more like philosophical questions, not to get too out into the weeds on it, but to be the kind of person who thinks that there is some debt that we are owed, like the truth is owed to us, I think is, you know, to me at least, and maybe I'll regret saying this, but I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's a fool's errand to believe that we are guaranteed some sort of truth, right? As far as what this fallen world could provide. Not saying that the truth of Christ is not real and true and everlasting, eternal, and um, you know, beyond above all of this. But in this fallen world in which we live, the idea that we deserve truth, there's no promise of that. And I'm not saying that that means that all, and I know this is getting really out there in the weeds philosophically, but I'm just saying that there is a pragmatic way of understanding how the world works, accepting that reality, and then working within the confines of that reality that, you know, certain people, I think, are not necessarily as inclined to want to do, right? Some people say, so here's the thing, and I don't, and I'm just speaking to one of the chatters here in case you're wondering, but somebody says, so lying is okay. How is lying? Nobody said lying is okay. We're not saying that, and you're saying that Q lied. You have not identified what specifically they lied about that I've read yet. Now, maybe you said something in a comment I missed. But I said I didn't say don't expect the truth. I said we're not owed the truth. See, this now we're getting into the type of back and forth that is absolutely unproductive. Because when you assert that I'm saying things I haven't said repeatedly, and you're trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm saying things I'm not, can't have a debate there. But I appreciate the questions. And I think I've made it clear what my opinion on the whole Q thing is. There was a lot of truth in it. The truth was wrapped in an enigma and all that, in many regards. And a lot of it was predicated on the idea that nearly every single time Q posted, or at least like the majority of times Q posted, they literally say over and over again, do your own research, think for yourself, don't just trust me. I mean, so when you say that Q was lying, Q was asking questions. Can you lie if you ask a question? That's a question. I don't know. I won't, trust me, when I rewatch this, which probably won't happen, I won't feel silly because I don't feel silly. It's not silly to have an opinion that you disagree with. Do you understand that? It's nothing negative, nothing, no animosity. I don't get angry or upset. I just say this. I'm glad to hear your opinion and to have a discussion. I think it's healthy to have discussions. We don't have those anymore. I am glad that I'm seeing the debate thing come back because we got away from that for a while, and that's when things got really bad. Um, and it's sad that it took Charlie Kirk dying for that to happen in many regards. But yeah, like the whole thing with Black Lives Matter and the Antifa, that all came from the political chasm that was created when Trump won in 2016 and the media went off the reservation trying to concoct all those lies about the Russia stuff. And it caused a hyperpolarization that then led to conflict that was only resolved when it wasn't fully resolved until I would say, and it's not fully resolved now, but it wasn't even partially resolved until the death of Charlie Kirk, sadly. Um, but that's what it took. And that's how we got to where we are now. So, yeah. Somebody said, pay attention. It won't cost you nothing if you pay attention, but it could cost you everything if you don't. Yeah, paying attention is one of those things that you got to do. So, somebody said it's how they keep us divided. Well, yeah, no kidding. I think that's like the entire thing here is they want to keep us divided. So, all right, I think I've had a fun time with you guys, but I got to get going. Got to get ready for New Year's. I hope you guys have a good New Year's, and we'll see you on the next one. Till then, Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you Patriots. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to make this thing stop.